Hi, my name is Charlie, and I'm here to talk to you about my experiences. 2 years ago, I passed away. The cause of my passing is important, but I'll address it later. But the experience is the important part. So I passed away, and I did pass into a light, like they say. So I was in the hospital at the time, and I succumbed to a fever of 109. And it sounds impossible because it really is. So I succumbed to the fever, I passed away, and I passed into a white room of light. And it was just sort of like a waking up from my existence here on earth, where I just woke up somewhere else. And I woke up in this large white room. It seemed like it had four walls, I believe, in my human mind. That's what I perceived. And I saw from the far right corner there was a soft glow of light sort of coming in very slowly, and it started creeping in more and more and becoming more intense. And it seemed like a quick instant in human time. It was just instant. And the light, it grew so intense that I couldn't even see anymore until I started hearing prayers saying to bring him up, God, bring him up, bring him home, bring him home. And so, I perceived that to mean that they were asking for me to come back, to come up to heaven. And so at the time, I was not a believer. I was very much against Christianity. And I was only the sort of person that believed in numbers and statistics because I was previously a researcher and then a counselor. So I looked at numbers as my evidence of what goes on in the world and what's behind the veil, I guess. And so I didn't have any sort of belief or any sort of salvation to help me. And I experienced absolute fear. So I was aware by my spirit that I was dead. And I was aware that I was being scrutinized and that something or someone was looking upon me and maybe thinking about what to do with me. And I had no thoughts, I had no authority, no defense. All of the memories and cognition had been blown out of my mind. So I was just sort of there experiencing it at a very, very minuscule level. So it was happening and I was aware, but I wasn't really able to process it. And as the light became so blaringly blinding, I couldn't see anymore. I heard these prayers that were in opposition to the prayers that I first heard. So I heard one voice, and it was sort of like that slow motion voice, like the, and it separated. It seemed like a familiar voice at first, and then it separated into multiple voices, and they were all my aunts, and they were all praying for me. And one of them said, bring him home, God, right now. Send him home because he's a light in our world and he has more to do down here. And my other aunt prayed, God, your will be done. But please make something positive come from this situation, please. And as soon as I heard them finish their prayers, the light totally disappeared and I woke up. And then I received that as my revival from death. And it's just, whenever you die, you know that you die. And when you're born, you're born. So it's hard to explain, but I'm pretty sure about it. And I called my aunts after all this happened, and I told them what I heard, and they confirmed the exact words that they had prayed for me. So in that way, I was saved by somebody else's faith. So, they sort of lent me a spark, and now it's my job to tend that flame that's come from that spark and to live in that. And I just want people to know that my experience is not super unique. It's happening around the world and it's going to keep happening. And I think that people are going to keep seeing more and more of this. And so, I didn't earn my salvation. I didn't earn the chance to live again. I simply was created, and the person that created me decided to take pity on me and have grace and say, well, I believe they said, I believe that God said, let's give him a chance to know me for real so that he can live his life the right way. And whenever he goes, finally, he'll be able to go to a good place. So that's my testimony, and I'm now saved, and I'm 2 years post my incident, and I'm recovering from paralysis. So I was left with left side paralysis, and I've been recovering from that. So the doctors told me there's basically no chance of recovery from paralysis and that your brain cells die. And they also told me whenever I came to the hospital that I wouldn't make it through the night, that it was a 0.00025% chance of survival. And here I am 2 years later, and here I am recovering still and doing most of the things that most people do that don't have any sort of paralysis. And I live a pretty good life, but a lot of that is because I live a life that honors God, and I try to do what I think he wants me to do and what he tells me to do, and live in a good Christian way. And so I just want you guys to know that he's real, and his power is real, and he's not a historical figure, and that he still does the same miracles that he did before, that you read about in the Bible or the Quran. Wherever you read about his story, it's still ongoing, and the miracles are still coming. Thank you.